This might be the biggest offseason for our Colorado Rockies in this franchise series. Welcome back, everybody, to the Rockies franchise. We're going to be targeting starting pitching yet again. There's a lot of big names that are up here. Shane Bieber, Tarik Skubal, Freddie Peralta, a lot of big strikeout guys. But again, I'm kind of eyeing guys that, of course, keep the ball on the ground. Brady Singer, probably the more cheaper version of those dudes that we just talked about. And he fits nicely with what we're trying to go target. Saves us some money to potentially get an offensive piece. Maybe Ian Happ. I don't know. Like, we don't really need outfielders, but it might have been nice to target some offensive pieces there. We're going to forego that idea. We're going to target Keegan Aiken. He's pretty solid. He's been solid for Baltimore. Nice little left-handed reliever. Never can have too many of those guys, right? Now, what about Eugenio Suarez? Third baseman can hit for some pop, but it seems like Nolan Jones might be a better fit at third base. Of course, he is now blocking Ariel Amador and even Owen Miller, some other guys that can play third. We'll have to see. Maybe we can trade some people around, but it seems like Nolan Jones might be a good fit at third base for us. Brandon Woodruff, he's pretty solid. I like him. Might be just a guy for us in the rotation. He might end up being our ace, but he's kind of my backup plan in case Brady Singer kind of falls through. Now, I'm a little disappointed in Brenton Doyle. I don't really know what I want to do here. If I wanted to offer him arbitration or if I wanted to offer him a long-term deal, I am going to offer him arbitration. This is kind of a prove-it season for him, to be quite honest with you. I really felt like I wanted to keep him around for this franchise rebuild. But guys, gotta be honest, he just doesn't really produce in games. So we're going to offer him arbitration. We're going to kind of do this every year of his arbitration to see if he's going to kind of come back around and be the player that we know that he can be. Nolan Jones, guy that's also going to get arbitration here. Ryan Feltner. Not too big on Ryan Feltner. Like, I realized that we could kind of shift him to be a relief pitcher, maybe a long relief type guy. But let's just save the money and go find something else, right? We got a lot of young pitching that's coming up. So personally, I'm just going to say goodbye to Ryan Feltner. I think we got better options. All right, so Brady Singer, it seems like with the motivation percentage, he's just not really getting anywhere. Might as well spend your time elsewhere. So we're going to remove him off the board. Seems like we're getting somewhere with Keegan Aiken and Brandon Woodruff. I'm also looking at another potential add in our pitching staff, and I'm looking at Kevin Gausman. I like Kevin Gausman. He's, ever since he was with the Baltimore Orioles, coming up there, he's always been a solid pitcher. Seems to fit kind of like with what we're trying to do. So we do see Jazz Chisholm going to the Mariners. You got Devin Williams getting in a trade with the Orioles and the Rangers. So those two teams are getting involved in a little tango there to acquire the closer. Plus, Tarik Skubal re-signed with the Tigers. Now, Brandon Woodruff, 2 years at $21.62 million. We got a 5% motivation boost there. And let's see what the contract decision is. I'm hoping that he signs with us, and there you go. Whenever you get the documents up there on the graphic, you know you got him. So Brandon Woodruff, that's a pretty solid get for us. I know he's a little older at 34 years old, but it does add to the depth of our pitching staff, so I like that. Now, the thing with Gausman, 68% motivation if I had left the offer where it was. You know, honestly, I think we could spend our money elsewhere at this point. We did get Woodruff, so Gausman can go bye-bye. We do get Keegan Aiken to sign with us, so that's a good get. Now, we get a call from Stephanie, and she's saying that Michael Lorenzen kind of wants to come out to Colorado, come out to Denver. I'm not opposed to this. Michael Lorenzen has some pretty good stuff left in him here at 35 years old. He can be kind of that flex type of guy that I love to have inside of our staff, right? You can use him as a reliever. You can use him as a starter. We could possibly have a 6-man, 7-man rotation. Well, you know, we got to get creative here with Colorado. Draft lottery results. I'm happy to say we got the #1 overall draft pick. That's awesome to see. Love to see that. So hopefully we get in this upcoming draft a generational prospect, because we need it. We need the talent. Hopefully it's an offensive piece, or, you know, hey, if it's pitching, that's not too bad either. Rule 5. We love our Rule 5 picks. We actually had 2 last season. One with Ildemaro Vargas and Dauri Moreta. We're going to do the same thing here with Alex Lang. I like the pickup right there. I think he adds to the bullpen, and it's a little cheap type of ad. We didn't have to pay him a bunch of money in order to do it, right? Yimi Garcia, let's try to sign him up. Again, it's more of a depth piece there. Now, with Lorenzen, 85%, guys. We can actually save some money here. 80% chance to sign. I like that. So we'll take that, definitely. We'll see if he signs up. He's likely to sign. Suarez is still available, but, you know, I think we don't have a ton of money left to offer in order to go get him. So we would have to pull money away from Yimi. We'd have to pull money away from Michael Lorenzen. I just think even as nice as it would have been to go get a guy like Suarez, you got the power right there. You got the third baseman that you're looking for offensively. I think the biggest thing for us is pitching. We've got a lot of young starting pitching. Might be kind of nice to mix and match guys and have like a 6 to 7 man rotation. I'm not against the idea here. You got to be creative with the Colorado Rockies. So Vodnik, we're actually going to make him into a closer. So we'll change up his position eligibility there. Just taking a look at some of our young guys like Jack Trent, the closer that we drafted last season in the draft class. Carlos Medina, our big-time first baseman, right? He was probably the best and most ready prospect that we possibly could have drafted here. And we're just changing some things up. We want to get him a little bit of drip, right? A little bit of vibe here, rather than just being a Mr. Generic player here. He's going to rock the Under Armour gloves and the cleats. I think he looks like he's a baller. He's going to be pretty darn good for us. Josh Bennett, another guy. Just taking a look at some of these guys' stances and what's the flavor that we're getting with these guys, right? Do we like what we see here? And I don't really like the stance. I'm going to change it up here just a little bit for Josh Bennett. He's that high 50 overall player with the A potential. I really like Bennett. I think he was really one of our best pickups. He's a top 50 prospect now that he's at the AA level. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen in his career. Hopefully we see him in this franchise series. Eric Hayes, another really solid pick. I think he was our round 2 pick for a Rockies draft last year. I kind of like this stance a little bit. He's a speedster type guy. He's got that open stance. I feel like that fits with Eric Hayes. Now, Philip Tanana, I'm actually not going to change much up with him. I think what his stance looks like and his get up, I think he's pretty solid. So there's our signings: Lorenzen, Garcia, Aiken, and Woodruff. We'd signed no offensive pieces. It's all based on pitching. So here's some signings around the league. We got some good signings there with the Tigers, my Tigers. They get Eugenio Suarez back, which is kind of cool. Came up with the Tigers a long time ago. Jesus Luzardo going to the Cardinals. You got Alec Bohm to the D-backs. Freddie Peralta going to the Rangers. Bellinger's back with the Cubs. Nico Horner is a turncoat. If you're a Cubs fan, he's a traitor. He signs with the Pirates. Now, Hunter Goodman's going to sign with us with arbitration, of course. The panel is going to side with the Rockies on all 3 of these players, except for Brenton Doyle. They're going to side with him, and Nolan Jones are going to side with Jones as well, and Moretta. And they'll side with us for Owen Miller. So we're kind of going to do Owen Miller dirty here just a little bit, and it's mostly because I want to actually make room on the 40-man roster for some of our younger guys. And I'm looking at this guy, Nikau Pauka Grego. And I probably said that wrong because I've listened to this film and the highlights of this guy for, I don't know, a couple days, and I keep getting it wrong. Nikau Pauka Grego. That's probably what it is. So he's a project infielder, but I do like his swing from the Philadelphia Phillies organization. But you guys can see now we're at 39 players on our 40-man roster. Probably another trade upcoming. But I'm looking at possibly adding another one of these big-time prospects like Daxon Jett or Tom Cloutier on the 40-man roster. I think it's time. I want to see how they do in spring training. So it's just a good move for us. Plus Amador, Nolan Jones, those guys can play third base and split some time there. I think it was a good move for us to get rid of Owen Miller, although he played really well for us last season. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I had to get rid of him, but it does serve a purpose. Now for Daxon Jett, I'm going to move him up to AAA. I think he performed well in AA last year. Let's give him the call up to the next level. Tom Cloutier did have an injury last year, so maybe he can just stay down in AA and get some nice playing time there. Starlin Thompson, Aaron Schunk, these guys, Bernabel, kind of looking at AAA, and I'm like, which guy's going to be down in AA? We're going to go with Bernabel down there. So we're just making some moves, trying to shift some things around here, making sure all of our levels are balanced. We got 26 men up there on the 40-man on the MLB level, but we do have 2 more players to move down into the minor leagues, and it does look like that's going to have to be Greg Jones from center field. Again, looks like our infield's set. We're just looking at our outfielders at this point. We got 1 more player to move from the MLB level down to the minor leagues. Looks like outfield is now set. I really don't have any intention to move Cameron Eden down. He was kind of on my chopping block. It was between him or Jaden Hill. And I think it's going to have to be Jaden Hill, guys. Unfortunately, I like his overall. I think he's old enough to get it done too. He's 27 years old. It's about time. But I got to make the move. I like Cameron Eden a little bit more than Jaden Hill at this point. So now I do make a trade with the Brewers. We do acquire one extra catcher. It helps with our minor league depth. And it removes Greg Jones from our 40-man roster, which allows us to get Dax and Jet onto the spring training team. Now, Charlie Condon had that MCL sprain that knocked him out of the entire season last year, so he didn't have as many minor league at-bats that I would have liked him to. Even still, he was able to progress really nicely last year, so I'm keeping my eye out, and I think you guys should too, for him later on, maybe this season. It depends on how he performs. Of course, there's always injuries. There's always guys that underperform that need to get moved down, like let's say Cameron Eden, but you know, we'll see what happens. So guys, heading into spring training, you saw our batting order. Here's our pitching rotation. I like it. I think it's going to be a lot better of a season than the first 2 years. Of course, season 2 was a little bit disappointing. Took a big step back with 99 losses. We didn't get to 100, but it was really, really close. We are 7-1 in the spring, but it's not because of our offense. As you can see, really the only guys performing would be Schwarber and Dax and Jet. That's about it. Cole Young, you could say he's performing. Limited at-bats. Hunter Goodman, actually. Let's not leave him out of the equation. 318, a homer, and 6 ribbies. But everybody else has been a little shaky. Now, for the pitching, this is why we're having so much success. Look at the pitching. Hancock, Buehler, Woodruff, Dollander, he's kind of struggling still, but even the bullpen. Look at the bullpen. Yimi Garcia's pitching well. No, like a lot of guys with 0 ERA. And the whip is looking good too. Now, of course, with the show, they never get these guys down at the very bottom into these games. So I actually made a shift, getting all of our bench guys into the lineup and the bullpen guys getting into the rotation. And we had a really, really bad month of March. Like, guys, we were 7-1. We finished 4-16. That's what happened. We finished 4-16 to end the spring. And again, the offense didn't really do too much. So I'm a little concerned that the guys that we have here in the clubhouse, just for whatever reason, man, we need a spark. We need a spark. We need something to happen here to push the offense to the next gear. And honestly, I think Dax and Jet's going to make the club because of what he can do. Contact, the power, the fielding, the speed. I think he's all of it. We need that. We definitely need that. Now, Juan Nava, I think he's going to make the club too. Across 12 innings, had a pretty solid ERA, pretty solid whip in limited sample size. Again, I love our pitching staff. I love the bullpen right now. It's looking pretty darn good. There's just going to have to be some major tough calls. A lot of tough calls. 20 innings for Brandon Woodruff. I think that was solid enough for him. This is going to be tough. But guys that didn't pitch, like Louis Varland, Yimi Garcia, he did throw, but I don't know if I'm going to keep him on the club. I'm not sure. He might be a late cut to get down to the minor leagues. Now, Victor Vodnik pitched pretty well, but I'm going to actually move him down to AA, AAA, I believe. It's just makes sense. Nava, I'm going to wait and see. I want him to make the club, but it just really depends on who else that we're going to move down. So Eden, Beck, both those guys, I thought they did pretty well, but they've got 2 minor league options. I'm going to hold off on those guys just for a second and just see, you know, which one is going to lose out. They might both make it. Carson Palmquist, he's going to move down despite pitching decently. Jaden Hill didn't pitch very well, guys. 12 1/3, 0-3. ERA was pretty high. Again, I think I'm going to have to do him dirty, and he's going to have to move down. Now, Perales, we traded for him with the Red Sox last season. I think he pitched very, very nicely, but he's got options to spare, so we'll move him back as well. Mason Albright, we've got Bradley Blaylock. They're going to go back to the minor leagues. I think that just makes sense. We just don't really have the room for them. Maybe on some teams they could be like bullpen guys, but we just don't have the room, so we're going to move back. Seth Halverson, same thing. The show kind of did him dirty. He's like a 58D. He's got the stuff. The fastball's heavy. I love it, but he's just not good enough. And, yeah, the show just kind of did him dirty, so we're going to have to move him down. Lucas Gilbreth, tough call for me. I like Gilbreth, but we're going to have to designate him for assignment and outright him to AAA. He's got a pretty solid overall and plus the C potential, but again, we've got Keegan Aiken, we got other left-handers like Kyle Freeland that can be kind of that flex guy that can be a solid reliever for us. We're also going to move Yanquiel Fernandez down. That's a tough call for me. I like Fernandez. He's had some good moments with us, but man, he just can't catch a break, really. It's tough. So we're at 27 out of 40. We need 26. That's the thing. We're going into the regular season. We got to make one more cut. Who's it going to be? Well, it's going to have to be Cameron Eden. Unfortunately, I think Jordan Beck won the job with his offensive showing in spring. Eden is a little bit better defensively, so I like that. I like the fact that he can play third base as well, but we got third base locked down. You got Nolan Jones, you got Ade Amador playing over there. That's fine. Again, you got outfield locked down with Jet. You got Brent Doyle, right? We got pieces. You got Schwarber at DH. There's just really just no room for Cameron Eden. And again, Beck outplayed him. Now we get the Phillies on opening day, so that should be fun. So you guys will see that in the next episode. And something that we have never really done in this series so far is we have not really gotten better through the waiver wire. That's just an area that I haven't really touched. I think it gets a little cheesy with the waiver wire because the CPU that does some weird things like this. Daniel Lynch, okay, a left-hander, 6'6", B potential, 69 overall. And I'll just tell you, Daniel Lynch used to be a starting pitcher. So how can I pass that up, okay? How can I do that? We're going to go put a claim in for Daniel Lynch. We do get him. We are successful on the claim. And I don't see Daniel Lynch here. I forgot that he wasn't a starter because, again, he used to be. So we're actually going to go find him. Right? I'm scrolling here and I don't see him. There he is, a 69 overall reliever. And that stamina at 82 tells me that even in the show, they say, yes, he can actually be a starter. Look at the jump. He's now a 78 overall starter. You might call that cheesy. I don't really care because Daniel Lynch is a starter, okay? That's what he came up with the Royals. That's how I envision him too. He's a starter. His stamina is an 82 in the game. Not like I'm bumping his attributes in the game, right? To make him a starter. He just is. He is a starter. Now look at the pitching rotation now. You got Freeland in the bullpen, Lynch, and Lorenzen. You got 3 starters in the bullpen who could potentially spot start. You know, we could also get into a situation where maybe there's an injury. You can move that guy, shift that guy over. We're not wasting options at that point. So these guys will be working as relievers primarily, but again, we've got some young arms. We've got Dolander, we've got Juan Nava up there too. It's not a guarantee that those guys are actually ever going to pan out too. So if we need to mix and match, if we need to move them to the bullpen, save their arms, right? Skip them in the rotation every now and then we can do that, right? But again, you've still got some veteran guys in there like Walker Buehler, Brandon Woodruff, right? Those types of dudes. So, you know, I'm not too concerned about those dudes, but I am more concerned about our young guys like Dolander and Juan Nava. If we want to kind of Jackson Jobe treat them like that, like the Tigers are doing in real life, then we can do that. So we can move to a 6-man, 7-man rotation sometimes, skip them in the rotation, make sure that their arms are healthy and then they're not, getting abused out there in the show. So guys, that's it for the video. Leave a like if you like this thing. Next time I see you, we'll be getting into opening day against the Philadelphia Phillies. Should be a fun one. I'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and peace.